Last month, Rivals Direct 3 happened, and gave us one of the biggest new announcements for Workshop in quite a while. 4 Workshop staples would be added to the base game. Malo's Bombs, Hodan's Steam, Palm's Music, and Olympia's Crystals will be entering the battle in the near future. However, this is a unique opportunity, since you're able to get a grasp on the characters before their official release. While characters will be receiving major changes, which I also plan on covering, I'd like to start looking over each character in an easy-to-digest guide. Today we'll be starting with Team Nerve's Hodan, a tricky monkey whose addition was quite the wild card. Malo, Palm, and Olympia had been staples forever, but compared to them, Hodan was fairly recent and had a much smaller player base. However, the character has a lot of unique things that I'm not sure if any other platform fighter has, and with the character's relatively simple kit, I think it's a good place to start. I should note that I'm not the greatest Hodan player in the world. In fact, I'm kinda terrible with them. That's why I asked Gnome, a notable Workshop Hodan player, to help proofread my notes and provide some of his own insight, so this video would not be possible without his help. Without further ado, let's get into it. Hodan is a slow, heavyweight fighter who uses projectiles to help gain positional advantage and get in for big damage, in true Rivals fashion. His tier placing is often up for much debate, as while his damage and power is very good, his kit really relies on one kill move, and while his kit is geared towards getting that move, and even has some backup options, Hodan is only as good as the courage of the player who plays him. What you may not expect is Hodan's gimmick, Steam. Those familiar with the current base cast may be a little confused by that, since Eliana already uses Steam as her element. However, where Eliana uses an air approach to Steam, scalding opponents as she flies through the air, Hodan takes a water approach, using Steam as calming and empowering mist to strengthen attacks. You see, Hodan is one of the first ever platform fighter charge characters. For those not in the know, a charge character is an archetype in traditional fighting games that must hold in the opposite direction of their attack before inputting to either perform a move or enhance that move's properties. For Hodan, there's a visual indicator when he has charge and in what direction. This is shown by the steam particles coming off of him, and can also be viewed in training mode. While you do lose steam fast when not holding, it is not instant, which can be useful for fakeouts. In addition, walking through or standing in a sweat whirl will instantly fill your steam. We'll talk about how to get those in a bit. While you have steam, all of your moves gain a slight damage bonus of 2 to 3% depending on if you have just vertical or horizontal steam, or diagonal steam. Releasing steam with a back, forward, or down up motion will let you do an EX special, both of which are very useful if used well. I know I said a lot of stuff there, so let me summarize. Hold directions to gain steam, use steam to power up moves, and then release steam to use EX moves. Now that we've explained the basics of Hodan's gimmick, let's talk about normals. Hodan's Jab 1 is fairly standard, being a quick, short-ranged punch. If not cancelled, Hodan will start his Rapid Jab. Rapid Jab can be a bit of a mixed bag and has a lot of the same downsides as Rano's. The damage is often low, and the move can be SDI'd out of if the opponent knows what to do. However, using it as a mix-up works well as an SDI check that forces the opponent to react or take solid damage, and leaves them in range for another surprise option. While it's definitely got its uses, it's best kept infrequent, as when it comes to neutral, you often do have better and more reliable options. Speaking of better options, Hodan's dash attack is crazy good. While its speed is fairly average, it travels a good distance and sends opponents at the perfect angle to either try to push them further with forward special, or chase them into the air with any aerial action. Because of how it moves, it's an excellent option to tech chase with, since it covers a lot of tech options. When you have charge, dash attack will actually travel further, and the strong hit will even kill at higher percents, making it even more dangerous. Forward tilt is a meaty thwack with the towel. While it is rather slow, it covers a pretty large distance and does alright damage up close. The move has a sweet spot on the tip of the towel which does big damage and can occasionally kill. There's also the steam particles, which while they do little damage, can be a threat if you try to hold ledge with it and have steam charged. If you manage to land a jab, your best bet is to cancel it into up tilt. Up tilt is a move with fairly small horizontal range, but is a fantastic combo starter for Hodan's air game. Down tilt is very similar to Krag's, being a quick poke that pushes opponents away. It's a rather niche move, but it can set up tech chases well and lets Hodan resume zoning. At low percents, you can attempt to catch the opponent with a dash attack after this move, which can give you some nice damage. If those tilts seemed a little bit underwhelming, I assure you Hodan's crazy aerials more than make up for it. Nair is an option select and a half, being a powerful jump kick into a cannonball position. The jump kick works just like you'd expect a jump kick Nair to work, but there's some interesting properties due to the cannonball. Holding Nair allows you to keep in the position, allowing for a weaker hitbox to follow you to the ground. In addition, a massive but weak hitbox will appear when landing, overriding the knockback of the initial move. This leads to a great mind game tool where after landing a short hop Nair, you can let the opponent fly away from you, or keep them close by hit-falling the Nair, essentially creating a restand opportunity. The applications are limitless. Forward air is Hodan's backup plan if he's struggling to find a kill. Normally, forward air is a quick punch that combos for a while and deals good damage, something in between Krag and Ori fares. However, the move changes entirely with full steam, becoming a powerful dunk like Mario's forward air. Because the move combos into itself, you have to try to chain fare into itself until you have the dunk, securing the kill. In super late percents, the regular weak hit may even work for you as a kill move, but it's not advisable. Hodan back air is also a pretty versatile move, being a 2-hit combo with a quick kick combined into a second kick upwards. Hitfall chains with this move are definitely a thing, and while it's no Rano Nair, it's certainly useful. You see less use of the upward kick part of this move, but it can be useful to push people away. The move is especially good near ledges, where the steam gained from holding back to do the back air can quickly be converted into a charged forward air. Notice how all of these aerials so far have been super useful and versatile? Up air isn't. Yes, the move sends at a crazy angle, and yes, the move has low hit pause, but that's really all it does. It doesn't kill, it doesn't combo, it doesn't even do that much damage, unless you really want to disorient your opponent as to why you'd ever use this move. I'd really advise against it. On the other hand, down air is incredibly versatile. Do you want a move that's strong and neutral that also converts into a powerful kill option off stage? Down air has you covered. It's a pretty large move that has 2 hitboxes. The sweet spot does tons of damage and meteors the opponent into a ground bounce or death. The sour spot is also a fairly strong hitbox that sends away, so you can easily kill if you go in deep. While most of Hodan's strongs rely on gimmicks more than anything, forward strong keeps it simple with a tried and true drop kick. There's not too much to explain to this move. It's slow, but it hits hard. Up strong, on the other hand, is a gimmick and a half. Hodan swings his towel up into the air upon use. The only grounded hitbox on this move is a tiny one behind Hodan. This really doesn't do too much damage, but can pop people towards the big hitbox of the move. This can confirm at higher percents, but not lower ones. The main part of the move has a sour spot, which doesn't do a lot, and a sweet spot, which leads to a command grab that absolutely smashes people into the ground. You can change which direction Hodan throws the opponent during the grab, so make sure to avoid throwing them off stage unless you're really hoping for a stage spike, as it can be easily teched. Overall, this move is very tricky, but not always all that practical. Despite this, you'll see Hodan go for this move a lot. Is it good? Not particularly, but it's a style move, and if you're playing Hodan, that's what you're going for. Down strong without charge is a very simple move. It's a slow body slam that sends people out, nothing really special. But with charge, it gains one of the most insane gimmicks on any move, parry armor. While this doesn't work quite like an actual parry, hitting Hodan during his unique red parry state will stun the opponent and make the attack absolutely huge. It is risky, but it can be a very powerful mind game. Depending on how you look at it, Hodan has either 2, 4, or 6 different specials. This is because Hodan has 2 directional specials and 1 EX special for each of 2 different move types. For the sake of convenience, we'll call these move types Sweat Whirl and Monkey Flip. Let's start with Hodan's neutral and forward special, Sweat Whirl. Sweat Whirl is Hodan's projectile engine and also his stage control option. All three moves throw a projectile that becomes a sweat spirit upon hitting an opponent or surface. As previously mentioned, sweat spirits instantly fill your steam when going through them. In addition, hitting a sweat spirit with a sweat whirl causes the whirl to level up, leaving it to do more damage and hit multiple times. Both of these factors mean that Hodan wants to get as many sweat whirls set up as possible, in good locations. Hodan can have a maximum of 3, and they go away over time, so constantly setting them up is important. The most versatile move of this trio is Neutral Sweat Whirl. The neutral variation throws a steam cloud that hovers in place for a bit, before falling to the ground. You can also perform a wave bounce by B-reversing this move, keeping your momentum but moving it in the other direction. On its own, this move is a safe way to cover space in front of you, but is very bad at anything else. This is where Monkey Flip comes in. Doing a flip into the Sweat Whirl allows you to grab it, releasing after a certain time or when you push special again. This drastically changes the move, allowing you to both approach and place a Sweat Whirl at the same time. Forward Sweat Whirl is the most basic of the three. It's a slow arcing projectile that can set a spirit where it lands. It's basic, but it's very useful. EX Sweat Whirl requires you to perform Forward Sweat Whirl with steam in the opposite direction. This can also be done with any Sweat Whirl move while standing inside of a Sweat Spirit. Upon use, you'll throw a Sweat Whirl blazing fast going straight forward. This is a great offensive tool and it can apply a lot of pressure on the opponent. Monkey Flip is the grease that keeps the Hodan barrel rolling. Both of these moves are fast rolls that do decent knockback, and when combined with Sweat Whirl give Hodan great positional advantage. Downwards Monkey Flip seems like a very weird move at first. It doesn't do too much knockback, and while its movement is good, Hodan has better ground movement. Its real power comes when you end the move near a spirit. Ending down special in a spirit makes you actionable much faster, and even lets you jump cancel. This allows you to follow up with some really useful stuff, including the Ray William Johnson. More on that later. You're also holding down for the entire duration, perfect for charging vertical steam. Also, you can perform it in 2 angles. The forward angle is probably the one you're going to be using more, since it approaches and starts combos, but the back angle can also work as a solid fake out, and also allows you to place spirits in weird places with its odd angle. Speaking of placing spirits, the last thing you need to know about this move is that a neutral Sweat Whirl absorbed by it will create a spirit when you land, but you can cancel the flip by pushing special again, throwing the spirit and leaving Hodan actionable, which can prove very, very useful. Upwards Monkey Flip is basically a suboptimal EX Monkey Flip. Don't worry, it's far from bad, just not as good as the one we're about to talk about. It's a very fast move that has really strong knockback, and will throw any caught Sweat Whirls once you hit the peak of the jump. EX Monkey Flip is the move Hodan's entire kit is centered around landing. It's incredibly fast, it kills really early, does massive damage, and is just all around good. The problem is that since you have to be holding down to charge it, or be in a Sweat Whirl, your options are a bit limited. Pretty much any time you feel like you have a safe chance of hitting this move, go for it. It's easily the best move in the entire kit. Now, let's talk about Hodan's game plan. As previously mentioned, Hodan wants to land EX Flip, which can prove quite difficult. This makes it so that at the start of the round, Hodan ends up playing more like a zoner. Hodan doesn't need nor want to engage until the board is in his favor. As such, setting up spirits before you engage is the way to go. If you want to approach or dealing with an opponent that you need to face directly, Hodan's got quite a few tools for the job. Most notably is Downward Flip, which when combined with a Sweat Spirit is an incredibly safe way to push advantage. If you don't have a spirit ready, Down Air is huge and will get you in. Other than those, Neutral Air is a relatively safe way to cover a lot of space, albeit weak, and Dash Attack is always a safe bet. Hodan's best kill confirm is known as the Ray William Johnson. I didn't name it that, so don't ask me why it's called that. To perform an RWJ, use a neutral Sweat Whirl and a down special and release it at the earliest possible moment. If this connects with the opponent at mid-percents, this should pop the opponent into the air while you have full charge. This should allow you to immediately perform EX Flip, killing opponents at wildly early percents depending on where you perform the technique. Other than the RWJ, Up special is good out of dash attack, up tilt, back air, and generally anything that pops the opponent high enough into the air. You've probably been wondering, if the opponent is expecting EX flip, can't they just play around it? That's completely correct, and it's why Hodan's other kill options are so gimmicky. Because they're expecting the flip, imagine your opponent's surprise when you hit them with an up strong, smack them with a charged forward air, or do nothing and wait out their counter for a down strong. The last and most important thing you need to know about Hodan is how to recover. Of course, the standard up B, wall jump, up B works, and it's actually pretty fast, but it's very vulnerable if you're not careful. Because of this, Hodan's recovery mix-ups generally rely on the EX flip. To do EX flip while recovering, use neutral special, then push the sweat whirl into the wall with one of your special flips. After that, wall jump and up B and you'll go flying. If your opponent is trying to predict your timing, throwing a sweat whirl will actually let you stall for a moment before you recover as normal. Hodan's recovery is definitely a bit of a weakness, but it's something you'll need to master to play well. Overall, Hodan's charge gimmicks make him a very unique addition to the roster. While he may seem very basic on the surface, a deep understanding of his mechanics are required to do well with him. The biggest advice I can give you is just to lab his sweat whirl movement, and then just play him in actual games and see where you go. You may not do well with him at first, but once you understand the kit well, he'll be a formidable foe. I'll be very curious to see how they switch him up when he releases in base cast. But until then, what are your thoughts on the monkey? Did this help, or do you have any more questions? Let me know in the comments. Until next time.